Asicimedeni laba khona kucimeda. Babe wethu lo ingcwele nasekuseni uNkulunkulu wethu omhle kangaka. Siyadibongela babe ngesipho sempilo lo siphe sona. Kunalolu lusuku lolushashanga Nkosi lesingadange sesiphile kulo. Bebaba ngabaningi bomhla ka29 July babe. Bathi liqiniso ukuthi lo wa 2021 azange sesiphile kuwo. Kungako sikubonga mesiyolungileyo ngoba impilo babe siphiwa nguwe. Nguwe umnikati wempilo egameni lika Jesu Kristu wasen
ndona lehloniphekile sikulombuthano nje lesikuko lamuhla lapho khona sto celebrate khona lusuku lwetinhlangano telibanjiswana noma ke lusuku lelibanjiswana emhlabeni. Normally Honorable Minister, this day is celebrated on the first week of July. But because of the challenges that we actually experienced as a department and as well as a country, that's the reason we are celebrating the day today on the 29th. And today's event, Honorable Minister, is under the theme, Rebuild Better Together. And this theme, Honorable Minister, yasuselwa mhlawumbe kulesimo lesikhungethe umhlaba wonke jikelele lesimo mhlawumbe seCovid kubuka ukuthi lapho sishayeke khona singema cooperatives noma ke singilaba belibanjiswano singenda njani kubisa simo ukuthi mhlawumbe sakhe kangcono lapho mhlawumbe sikhinyabeteke khona. Honorable Minister, ngaphandle kwekumosha isikhathi bese ngishito kuthi mina nje kwami kutokuchuba luhlelo ngasho ukuthi kwami kumalula and kufisha umehluko nje lokhona munye ngiloko ukuthi nine ninikiwe isikhathi letikaliwe kule program mina ke nginemagunya ekukhuluma kwengcanine nonke lenikhona la without a waste of time, Honorable Minister, njengoba nalabo mhlawumbe labakhona la nalabanye labangekho labasibukela kulama platforms lesinawo njengoba sathi kuthi lo mcimbi wethu uvirtual maningi emaswati la uthamela ngakuletoti inhlangothi ngekwehlukana kwabo siyabemukela nabo lapho bangakhona khona siyethemba lokuthi labo labasetingini open tonke into thamba kahle bayakhona kusithola emaswati kuze kuthi abemtsibi munye kulomsebenzi. At this juncture, I would like to request the visionary woman kuma cooperatives, and that is none other than Commissioner Magenonhlanhla Mnisi atosendele ma welcome remarks.
Ngithanda kunibingelela nonke ma cooperators tindzaweni tonke lapho nikhona nakhona lapha esibane la sikhona khona ngithanda kubingelela timenya tethu leticavile ekseni sibonga ukuthi nihlanganyele nathi kulomcimbi lesinawo lamuhla. I would like to welcome you all to the International Cooperative Day celebration for 2021. Thank you for tuning in, so you are a part of this event. We are gathered here to celebrate the existence of cooperatives in Eswatini for 57 years now. And we are meeting to consider the theme which says, Rebuild Better Together. Noma ke asakhe ngcono kabusha. Njengoba asasi vulele kancane Master of Ceremonies ukuthi itheme yethu isusela kulokuthi sesi nanasi kuhlupheka lesibhekene nako kwabo COVID. We thank God for the privilege of meeting together again this year, since Cooperative Day has become an annual activity for the movement. It is a privilege to have the Honorable Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade amongst us, as he's going to deliver a keynote address to this gathering. Also amongst us, virtually though, is the Ambassador for the Republic of China on Taiwan, together with his senior staff of the Taiwan Technical Mission. We're also happy to have amongst us the DGRV project manager, or he may not be here present with us, but he's in Pretoria. He's going to be doing a presentation for us. We're also happy to have the members of the Portfolio Committee for the Ministry, also virtually, RDF officials, ESNYC, CEO, Junior Achievement, and all other invited guests. You are all most welcome. Most important is that we have members of cooperatives coming from the youth cooperative movement, coming from SWAFCO, which is the commodity cooperatives, and SASCO, the financial cooperatives. We are happy to have you all in our midst. This year we have a relevant theme for the times we live in, as we are all aware that the whole world is affected by COVID-19. Hence, the world over has seen it fit to adopt a theme which says, rebuild better together, which we have also chosen to adopt because we are equally affected by this pandemic. If I were to unpack the theme, I would explain rebuild to mean that rebuild means to build again after something has been damaged or destroyed. And dear cooperators, we are all aware that COVID-19 has come to destroy our economy, including our cooperatives, in many ways. The worst scenario which has been experienced by some cooperatives has been a closure of their business, leading to liquidation. The question is, how do you rebuild in this case? This kind of scenario is an example of many scenarios that challenge us to rebuild. We need to formulate strategies that will help us in the recovery process. So the theme propels us, dear cooperators, to rise to the challenge of this pandemic. As I conclude, let us keep in mind that cooperatives are organizations for people who are keen to change and improve their livelihood for the better. I hope that you will live up to the challenge to rebuild as well. I thank you all for your attention.
Siyabonga kakhulu Madam Commissioner kusemukela nemavili amnanzi kangaka sinjoba besishito ke bekunene ukuthi make commissioner is someone lo nenhlitiyo yema cooperatives sonke isikhathi makukhonywa ngelibanjiswano uyangakhona nekulala nakunale msebenzi lefana nalena. Cabanga nje ukuthi masicetha lapha honorable minister make mnisi utawukhona ke kulala nakhona ngekuthi konke ke tabe khambe kahle ikakhulu ngaloko ukuthi ke tiba njengomfana lamagagula ngalangembili sitawutama lokuthi tonke into sithambise ngelihlelo. Colleagues, without a waste of time, Without a waste of time, ndawucela make Grace etela ngembili. Mane ke ndvuna noma ngabe bufakazi babo bukhulu kangakanani, ngicela kubanika strictly 10 minutes. Umuntu amunye. Nase kwengcelo 10 minutes. Ngwenyuka ngitela ngedulo ngente mhlambe lokungakavami ngithathe ke le mic sichubekele embili make Grace.
Honorable Minister for the Commerce, Industry and Trade, the Commissioner for Cooperative Development in the country, the President of SWAFCO, the President of SASCO, and the President of SNICA, and everyone else, and let me observe all protocol. Like I've been just introduced, I'm Mage Grace Lulu, coming from Sibonelo Savings and Credit Cooperative Society, and also representing all the SACCOs, the financial institutions in the country. I'm going to present our testimony as the Sibonelo Savings and Credit Cooperative Society. I'll start off by saying that it is an honor to be part of the celebration of the International Year of Cooperatives, which is celebrated annually on the first Saturday of July each year since 1923, and officially proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in the National Cooperative Alliance in 1995, the International Day of Cooperatives. As a board member of Sibonelo Savings and Credit Cooperative Society, I have been requested to present a testimony of the SACCO during these trying times of COVID-19 under the theme, Rebuild Better Together. This theme sets the tone that cooperatives have to reassert their position in the world economy. And this can be done by rebuilding on the havoc that has been done by the pandemic. This can be also done best by coming up with better strategies together as a cooperative movement. And this is supposed to be a joint effort. Sibonelo Savings and Credit Cooperative Society was formed in 1984, that is 37 years ago, by 20 employees of the Central Cooperative Union, which was the apex body of the non-financial cooperatives, the agricultural cooperatives. The common bond was opened to civil servants of the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives and other agricultural parastatals. It is now open to all government employees, their spouses, their children, and employees of professional bodies and the private companies. Currently, the SACCO has 4,500 active members. And worth noting is that during the current year, 2020-21, ending 30th June, there are 588 new members that have joined the SACCO in spite of this COVID pandemic, which has been the highest since the inception of the SACCO. The SACCO has now a total assets amounting to 152 million and has savings amounting to 104 million, and loans that have been issued outstanding are 117 million. Cooperatives have shown resilience during the world economic crisis in 2008, and during the COVID-19 era, they are also duty-bound to take action, reduce the risk that has been brought by the pandemic. The SACCO management needs to remain proactive and respond to the emerging dynamics and position the cooperative business model as the best alternative in such circumstances that will help households and businesses survive the thrive. What has happened in the workplace concerning the safety and working conditions, especially at Sibonelo? When the pandemic hit the ground, the SACCO hygiene measures were introduced, taking body temperatures, washing of hands with running water and soap, sanitizing and maintenance of social distancing as a measure to reduce the spread of the coronavirus within the workplace. Notably is that the movement of members to access services at the offices has been restricted as a way of protecting the staff and the members from spreading the virus, knowing that the virus doesn't move, but it is the people that move the virus from one place to another. What are the internal operations that we have done in terms to manage the crisis? Rescheduling of working hours of staff has been implemented, and some have been made to work from home on rotational basis. This measure has been taken to protect the staff as well as also respond to the regulations issued by government to try and curb the spread of the virus. What else have we done? Telework arrangements have been expanded, and events that required physical contact have been minimized. Virtual meetings of the board members have also been effected as a mitigation measure to minimize physical contact, and that has also reduced our board expenses. Deposits and disbursement of funds is also done digital, which helps minimize the spread of the virus. So there is no movement of members up and down, although some still believe that they have to come to the office physically. Members have been requested to make loan applications through digital means and making use of the SACCO website. Information and notices have been made easy through SACCO WhatsApp groups, text messages, ensuring the full use of electronic communication. Even those who are sort of reluctant of visiting the website have no choice now but to visit the website in order to put up their applications to the office. The SACCO has also installed the Mambu system, which is a core banking platform to ensure that the SACCO enters the digital space with ease and with strong controls. Members will be able to view their statements through their mobile phone and do their loan applications at the comfort of their homes or wherever they are. The credit committee as well will also be able to approve loans at the comfort of their places without having to physically meet at the office, which in a way will also reduce board costs. The effects on the performance of the SACCO through this pandemic. Member savings have been negatively affected since some members, due to the lockdowns, lost some income and withdrew some of their savings and also opted not to maintain their voluntary or optional savings products, such as holiday savings. So they just managed to only save the minimum that they wanted to save. However, the SACCO has still maintained its positive liquidity condition. Some members could not effectively service their loans, especially those who experienced loss in income during the lockdown period. The SACCO gave them a non-repayment holiday for a specific period. Also, rescheduling of loans repayment period was also affected for those that were negatively affected financially. On a positive note, the SACCO has been able to meet loan demands which have been meeting the loan requirements. So all loans which clearly qualified to be issued have been all issued, except those that were not meeting the requirements. The second cooperative principle of democratic member control, which requires that all decisions to be made by members through annual general meetings, has been in practical. Collective decisions by members through AGM enhances social interaction and collective responsibilities on matters pertaining to their cooperative society. It is important to note that final decisions are currently made by the board members in response to the restrictions put by government to forbid gatherings as a measure to control the spread of the virus, which is against the cooperative principle. However, we have to comply. This practice gives opportunity to unethical leaders to misappropriate funds. I'm not saying that Sibonelo has misappropriated funds, but this act will result in that for those who are unethical and misuse the office oaths, manipulation, or failure to observe and follow internal procedures at the expense of members. These weaknesses in governance may create inefficiency and lack of effectiveness in providing services to members. Therefore, the SACCOs have to review their policies to ensure that AGMs are held in a more efficient and compliant manner, like opting for the delegation system and making use of electronic meetings portals. In conclusion, it is obvious that performance of cooperative societies have been and will be economically and socially affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Cooperative society have lost or are at a risk of losing the income, and if the pandemic is prolonged and becomes more severe, it will be disastrous in this sector.
Siyabonga kakhulu make Grace, ngicela simshayele tandla kakhudlwana. Angisuye lo muntu lona enhlitiyo lembi noma ke lona emona. Ngiyati kona ukuthi mhlambe ugcina angakahambi kuloko lesivumelene ngako. Kodwa kakanzaba. Siyabonga kakhulu make Grace. Lokho ngimangalisako ngithanda ngibuta kucala ndvuna ukuthi lalabanye ngabe bakhona yini bavele bashona phasi kanzi bakhona labanye but ngibese sengiyaconza ke lokho ukuthi babonile la kule program ukuthi kunenkabi lenzala manje beyibekwele ekugcineni bafuna kucala bona batobona lokuthi kwentiwa njani. So endile make Grace yenda njalo kodwa ke hayi kudla sikhathi njengayi sihamba kanye kanye mos. Ngiyacela ukuthi Thulani Magongo lochamuka enhlanganweni yabantu labasha etengembili naye atosethulela ukuthi bangisanu langa lethu multi-purpose cooperative society bayibambe njani kulesimo lesi. Thank you very much. Buya ngembili mbana sekhaya. Ngisin sekusala na announcement bathi tela laba sibukele teltia in the interest of time bayacela ukuthi you grab a tea ubuye uhlale phansi quietly lapha ngemuva kunelitiya uthathe ubuye uhlale phansi sichubeke sitabe desikhathi sekuma simele litiya kwesibili bathi tekunakulaba nentisa kona kwekukhetha kudla niyabona amaphepha labanike wona lenwathikako bathi bayacela ukuthi lapha kulama drinks ubhale ligama lale drink longayithakasela lapha ngaphasi kuyasho ukuthi kude ini grape tizer what lo kubhala lapha phasi ngilokude kona thina ke sicela ukuthi kulama drinks sitibhalele lesingawathakasela siyabonga.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Loko ukuthi ngibeke lamaphepha loko ukuthi ngingithishela sekuthi nje ngisengaqasha kufuna kwangathi na ufundzisa ukhuluma uqala ubeke letincwazi babone labantu ukuthi awukhuluma nga with all protocols duly observed. Firstly, greetings to all of you gathered here today and our Zoom and YouTube viewers in all different parts of our lovely kingdom. I'm Mr. Tulan Magongo, a chairperson of Sanulangaletu Multipurpose Cooperative. A cooperative that has been formed in 2019 at Southern African Nazarene University. I'm a member of a SNECA where we affiliate as a cooperative. I would like to thank you for affording me the opportunity to address you at this important meeting. We have gathered this morning to celebrate the International Day of Cooperative, the International Day of Cooperative 2021. I am here to share with you on how our cooperative has been doing during COVID-19. Firstly, allow me to touch on the challenges that we have faced as a cooperative. Due to COVID-19, we have been unable to meet frequently due to COVID-19 pandemic interruption. Reason being, our cooperative has been formed at a tertiary level where we sometimes closed and we open again. Moving on, another challenge that we have faced is the slow cash flow for our savings. Since we depend on government allowances and parents' salaries, there was a slow cash flow. Also, we have been unable to run planned projects where we wanted to run marketable agricultural projects such as growing lettuce, spinach, tomatoes, etc. Due to lack of land, although at the moment as we speak, we have obtained a fertile land to rent. I must say though that as a youth, we couldn't sit and watch such situation. We therefore turned into using technological ways where we hold meetings using social media platforms. We have created a group in WhatsApp and Facebook where we hold meetings. We have also tended to use mobile money in order to subscribe for our savings. Our savings include school savings where one can save for his or her child. Nobody knows when or he will have a child. So we have opened a school savings. We have also opened Vakasha savings where the youth can save money. Then they can obtain it after 15 months and then they can go it anywhere for tourism. We have also opened Sibegelo Ordinary Savings and Medical Aid Savings. The Sibegelo Ordinary Savings is for one to start a business, and the medical aid is for one to go to a good hospital and get a good health service whenever he or she is sick. In this savings, members are able to save using mobile money. Our business or co-op projects have been advertised through social media platforms. As we speak, we have our Facebook page promoting us, where we have observed large numbers of people willing to join us. Since our cooperative was only stipulated to only accommodate students. We therefore have finalized to adjust our policies or constitution in order to accommodate everyone in the country. As our theme says, rebuild better together. We therefore, as our theme says, rebuild better together, we therefore have finalized ways to rebuild our co-op. We have decided to focus on running one project at a time because we cannot run all these planned projects due to lack of financials. As a youth, we have focused to open a burial savings scheme, which is a funeral cover, where we have targeted the youth in all different parts of the country, employed and non-employed youth. Cela ukuveta lokho ukuthi asati ukuthi lisuku lethu lekuhamba linini emhlabeni. So as a youth sibonile ukuthi nangabe labanye bathi bafuna uzucashwe thina sithi asiyivule le funeral cover ukuthi noma ungacashwe as long ukhona kuphanda ukhona khamba uyofaka ema-ties kamakhelwane ubuye naye 40 rand. Le funeral cover itaba ngu-40 rand nje unjalo lomletha ngenyanga. Umuntu lomusha na ungathi uyabuka kahle uyakhona kuba nayo imali enganga 200 ngenyanga. Sibe sesimona ukuthi kungcono siyakhe le funeral cover. It's just a matter of time to launch it. We have also observed the market demand in our country, which is agriculture produce. Njengamanje nje stabesile lokudla kuqhamuka through agriculture. So sibone ukuthi kungcono sibuke nayo. We have decided to put more efforts in agricultural projects where we want to grow at least one crop in 1 hectare of land. Together as a youth, we will indeed rebuild better together. And I'm confident that we will see many stories of how cooperative movement can help communities become stronger in the post-pandemic world. As I sit down, I would love to plead to government, NGOs, companies to include the youth when they are in need of products in the market. I trust that each and every company or cooperative run by the youth will meet the market's demand. Mage, njalo nasi office ke simbita ngamake. Uyas encourage. Sigile se lakhaya esibane bekune youth chamber. I-youth yathi yona iyacela ukuthi asehulumende ayizame kuthi nje nakuthiwa uhesha umgwaqo lothi mbabane manzini asele youth inikwe ithi itawukhona yona loku uhesha lomgwaqo. Lokunye futhi lethi iyacela ngokuthi asekube nesemina sihlangane nabo somabhizinisi langa linye kule bosomabhizinisi athi ukuthi bakhona be-construction bakhona be-technology bakhona be-tourism siye sishiyela neligwayi basicocele ukuthi okay nanifuna kuhamba la bhekani le nale singato give up la ndleleni. Lokunye lesicela kwesi-youth, we have identified beautiful places within our communities that can support tourism. Therefore, we will love to operate them. Lengasekhaya nje ekhaya kusenzingeni kunendzawo lenhle kakhulu ngibona ukuthi nasingathi namuhla siwenda i-tourism khona siyayivula kube i-lodge noma i-hotel irun ngiyona le youth ingadevelopa le ndzawo yangakithi. I thank you most warmly for your attention. Thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu kumuntu lomusha. Bengingacela ukuthi siphindze sithi kumshayela tandla kakhudlwana kunakucala. Siyabonga kakhulu emavila amnanzi kangaka lachamuka kumuntu lomusha. Siyabona ke ukuthi baneliphupho lelihle. And Madam Commissioner, angikuphendulele make mhlambe kulokubekwe ngilabani labasha ungangishayi. Honorable Minister, siyabeva abantu labasha bacela kuniketwa emathenda nabo batezame asisho lokho ukuthi Bani labasha abangethu vele sasikufakile kulomgomo wema cooperatives lesisebentela etikwawo lo wacala nga2017 kuthi sitawenda taba kuthi hulumende simcele vele ukuthi lama tender abanike laba bema cooperatives, not only bani labasha. It is there ngilokunye lesakusebenta siveta nalokuthi siyeva ngicela iseminar nabo somabhizinisi ndoshiyelana ligwayi kukuseplanini yethu siyi-department kulomnyaka bese sisitawenda indaba yebani labasha whereby sitawu-invite labantu ma-stakeholders ngekwehlukahlukana kutoshiyelwana lelo ligwayi. So umuntu lomusha-ke nakaneliphupho uye bese-ke soyaboniswa nalokuthi-ke le department yakhe ihleleni. Siyabonga kakhulu. Without a waste of time, sicela edzadzewethu Cebile Myeni lokuchamuka eSwafco lokusambulelo senhlangano yebalimi. Balimi belbito bakhona. Farmers with a calling. Okay, thank you. Sangiyendi phucuke lena.
Good morning to everyone. Vuselane nebaphathi bakaKhomes and all dignitaries in the room. Ngicebile Myeni. I'm representing BBMC and Swafco. When I was looking at today's theme, at this year's theme, Yama Cooperatives, rebuild better together. I felt it held so much truth in it, especially since we've gone through a lot, not just as cooperatives in the previous year and this year, but even as individuals, even as business, even as careers. We all do need to rebuild. And in the cooperatives department, I looked at the fact that cooperatives are usually human-centered. It's not just a package like you would handle a business where decisions can be up to a single person sometimes or just two people. But cooperatives, you're actually dealing with people. You are actually dealing with mindsets. Whatever change or advancement that you need to introduce has to be people-centered, has to be mindset-centered. Once you overlook that, you may not succeed in dealing with the people in cooperatives. I'm speaking as one of them. I have seen cooperatives take me from one point to the next. I've seen cooperatives help me meet different people. I've seen them help me build relationship, and I've seen them help me grow in business and how I understand business. So cooperatives will always be in my heart. I always value them. And then talking about the rebuilding part, the failure part. I have been in co-ops where we have failed. We have tried some projects before that didn't make it. It was even after we had invested some money, sometimes our money, sometimes government money. But we are grateful to our government and to the Commerce Department. They do not give up on us. I can imagine there's many co-ops you have funded that didn't make it. And there's many projects that were funded that didn't make it, but please do bear with us. As you teach us, as you walk with us, we hope we will one day, because I believe failure, we all need to fail at some point. I appreciate all the places that we have failed, because I believe there's a muscle that wouldn't have developed if I haven't gone through a certain thing. If our co-op hasn't gone through some certain challenges, there are some lessons that we would never have learned, which we have learned now, and they are helping us, and there are projects that are successful that we are embarking on, all because somebody didn't give up on us. And I hope you'll do the same with all cooperatives, even though they fail. Just keep funding us. But while you keep funding us, take us through, because we need to learn. We start co-ops. When you join a co-op, there is no requirement. There's no educational requirement. There is no experience that is required. So sometimes the first experience that we have is with your money. So please, while you give us your money, please make it a point you also take us through. We may not like it because we may feel like, you are intruding, but please do take us through. And then the theme is rebuild, better together. On the better part, as I've mentioned earlier, we have learned, we have grown, and we have developed strength. And we refuse to let fear stop us, because we have realized with the projects that have failed, sometimes we thought the projects had the potential, but we feared to fail, such that some things we didn't even attempt because we feared to even start. But now we have learned that fear is where the strength comes in. You won't say you are strong unless you have overcome something. That's why they say don't be afraid, because there is something you have to fear. That's why they say there is strength, because there is the possibility for weakness. And then the together part. Co-ops are made up of different personalities. I've seen it being a loophole previously, working with different people. You may all have the same target, you may all have the same goal, but you have different ways of approaching it. That has been the biggest challenge, working with different personalities, especially since you have started with them and you have to end with them. I've seen some people drop off because they couldn't work together. I have dropped off from some projects because I couldn't work with other people. But I've learned as I've grown that you do need the intelligence to deal with different personalities in a cooperative, or else it's not a cooperative, run a business. So we do need to be taught that intelligence of dealing with different people if co-ops are supposed to be a success. We do need to be taught to be resilient if cooperatives are supposed to be a success. We do need to be taught because sometimes it may be the leader that you are not working well with. It may be the leader whose goals sometimes are different from the rest of the co-ops. We need to know we can bypass, and that there's an office on top of that leader for the success of the cooperative, because having the goals and visions and everything in place is one thing, but actually taking it and seeing it to pass. If we ignore these few things that seem normal, that seem common, they might stop the projects from coming to a success. Excuse me. And another thing, as I'm about to end, we want to thank our office that we have been working with. They've proven to be supportive. They've proven to be willing to listen whenever we had issues. They didn't get tired of us. Just like I said, the expertise, you only get to learn it as you go. But some projects, we owe it to the offices that we work with, the officers that we work with. They advise us. They support us. They do not give up on us. I hope all of the apexes, all of the offices that deal with cooperatives are like that. Do not give up on us. For some people, cooperatives are the only lifeline. Like I said, it needs no qualification. So if everything else needs a qualification, everything else needs it to have background information, we need the co-ops to survive. Some families need the co-ops to survive. So we will ask you to continue doing the good job that you are doing. Know that people's livelihoods, some families depend on that, depend on you being in the office and having that listening ear. Sometimes that may all it takes for somebody to encourage one another. And we ask you to even encourage us, even beyond what's on paper. Check up on us in a non-judgmental way. This will also help some of us in the cooperatives. It will help me to go and check on the other person, check on my neighbor in the same cooperative. It will give us the strength to carry on. Just because somebody up there, we feel like we're being watched, we feel like we have the support that we need. Thank you very much.
Siyabonga kakhulu ku farmers with a calling. Ngiyacela ukuthi sibashayele tandla kakhudlwana. Ngibonga lokuthi we do appreciate ukuthi Sigma Cooperatives siselibanjiswaneni. Thank you very much ukungibambisa. Ngisachuba lo hlelo. Honorable Minister, at this juncture, I will call upon one of our presenters, who is Dr. Bongmusa Ntuli. Dr. Bongmusa Ntuli is not among us here, but he will be making his presentation virtual. He is based in South Africa, Pretoria. And I know, ladies and gentlemen, you've been all along calling Ntuli as Mr. Ntuli. He's no longer Mr. Ntuli, he's Dr. Bongmusa Ntuli. Honorable Minister, maybe let me just give a brief profile of Dr. Ntuli. Musa is a passionate as they come to a cooperator with many years of activism, administration and leadership in the socio-economic development landscape. In addition to an honorary doctorate in community and municipal development he obtained in 2020, he also holds a Master of Administration and Bachelor of Arts degree. Moreover, he has obtained other postgraduate diplomas, including Applied Social Science, Municipal Executive Leadership and Finance, Business Risk Management, Project Management, Human Resource Management, Marketing and Supply Chain, Monitoring and Evaluation. His many years of experience include various leadership and advisory roles within the private sector, NGO, as well as government sector in general, and local government sphere in particular. As a panel member of municipal governance and administration expert, he has been deployed to various troubled local government authorities to turn them around through administrative, governance, and regulatory instruments. Further, he has occupied leadership roles as university student leader, member of University Council, treasurer and chairperson of his CFI SACO, provincial and national chairperson of CFI Apex body, members of Municipal Audit Committee, chairperson of a further education and training college, and an associate member of the Institute of Directors of South Africa. He has also served as a provincial coordinator and monitor of the Kari Gude, Learn Where You Are, South Africa National Literacy Campaign. Dr. Ntuli currently serves as a member of the Bakery Incubator of South Africa, where he serves in both HR and business development committees. Since joining DGRV in 2016, as a consultant, he has been elevated to the second in charge, a senior project advisor role, for the Southern Africa region. Well known for his passion for cooperatives in general and SACCOs, in particular that he is not afraid to be hated for speaking truth to power on matters of cooperation and among cooperatives, good governance and friendly regulatory operating environment. Honorable Minister, lo dokotela lengicedza kukhuluma ngaye usebenza ke ka DGRV ke ngiletinini telive leti tangena ke sivumelwaneni nelitiko lakho ndvuna kutsi ke batawusita ema-cooperatives ekwathuthukise ukuthi bawathuthukise agcine ke ang-number 1 in the SADC region. Without a waste of time, Mr. Duli, lapha ke kuleti buko leti la ecadzini kwami noma ke lamaceleni kwami. Over to you, Mr. Ntuli. Ngicela sishaye itanda ngacala. Dr. Ntuli.
Thank you, Program Director. Hello.
Dr. Ntuli, we can hear you. You can proceed,
Hello?
sir. Proceed, doctor. We can hear you.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you so much. Sorry about that. Program Director, thank you so much for your kind introduction. Honorable Minister, honorable members of Portfolio Committee, respectable leaders of the cooperative movement from the National Cooperative Federation of Eswatini and the 3 apexes of cooperatives within Eswatini, esteemed commissioner and the assistant commissioners, esteemed managers and officials of different cooperative structures, donor community representative from Taiwan and elsewhere, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all in the name of celebration of cooperatives of the International Day of Cooperatives. Thank you, Minister, for your kind word, and it is really dawning to our psyche that indeed Eswatini has become a home away from home for us as DGRV. Program Director, allow me to pass host to allow me to share the screen, and I'm not sure if I am having that permission now. Yeah, the host disabled the screen. Nevertheless, allow me to proceed with my talk points. I will talk briefly as a way of introduction linked to the theme of today, and then speak briefly about International Cooperative Alliance, stand or take on the federating, and a brief case study on DGRV as a cooperative federation. Then talk briefly about the Eswatini legal framework on federating. And then 5, why must we support our apexes and the National Federation? And then I'll conclude. As the way of introduction, Minister, Honorable Minister, our countries, South Africa and Eswatini, are at crossroads, and their resilience and agility to adapt and change, not only policies but practices, are being tested in multiple fronts. On one hand, we have a stubborn COVID-19 pandemic. On the other, we have a rapid economic decline. We have unemployment and youth unemployment rate that is increasing. And we have sporadic civil unrest, general restlessness, and general unhappiness among the populations of both our countries. As we celebrate this important day, we are very mindful, and our prayers goes to all the families that have lost their loved ones due owing to COVID pandemic, as well as the recent civil unrest in both our countries. The recent events have demonstrated to the whole wide world the power of civil society. But it also demonstrated that if that power is not organized, the results would be chaos and destruction, not only to individual family units, but to the entire economy and the ecosystems of social as well as economic. But if organized, results in mutual benefit and progress. And there are different perspectives to this recent unrest. There is a need to democratize the economies. It's one perspective, but another one is that there are pushbacks against passive citizenry. Citizens no longer want to sit and be passive recipient or consumers. They want to be actively involved in their destiny. People need to feel they are part of shaping their lives and their future. And today's celebration is significant for those purposes because through cooperatives, some people who would not even be able to participate in international or even regional activities, economic, cultural, or socially, are able to participate through cooperatives. Cooperatives have proven the world over that they can actually allow people to access opportunities that they would otherwise not access on their own. And our countries, South Africa and Eswatini in the main, are facing similar challenges when it comes to inequalities, both at the economy front, education front, as well as access to economic opportunities. We've got different clusters or stratas of our economy. We've got an economy of the rich class and co-opted Black elite. We have economy of the impoverished Black, which is characterized by middle class who are debt trapped, they're swimming in debt, and a poor class who are poverty trapped. And these are mostly found in Black and rural communities among youth, women, and people living with disabilities. And cooperatives, because in cooperatives, no one is left behind. They can provide a panacea to actually enable these vulnerable groups to participate meaningfully in the economy and use their time productively instead of destructively, which we've witnessed during the unrest and the banning of infrastructure and all those things. International Labour Organization report in 2009 state, and I quote, historical evidence and current empirical evidence proves that the cooperative model of enterprise survives crisis, but more importantly, that it is a sustainable form of enterprise able to withstand crisis, maintaining the livelihood of the communities in which they operate. This is also augmented by the International Cooperative Alliance in 2020, where it said the financial COVID-19 and the ensuing economic crisis has had a negative effect on the majority of enterprises. However, cooperative enterprises around the world are showing resilience to the crisis. Financial cooperatives, they remain financially sound. Consumer cooperatives are reporting increased turnover. Worker cooperatives are seeing growth as people choose cooperative form of enterprise to respond to new economic realities. We may not be witnessing this in our countries because of the recent turmoil, but the world over, cooperatives are proving their resilience. ICA take on federating. ICA in 1996, in its 23rd Congress in Vienna, said the following, I quote, "If the cooperative movement is to rise to its full stature, either within each country or internationally, cooperative institutions must unreservedly support one another." And if you look at the ICA principle of cooperation among cooperatives, which is principle number 6, it states that cooperatives serve their members most effectively and strengthen the cooperative movement by working together through local, national, regional, and international structure. And by working together, cooperatives gain the expertise, scale, and support necessary to heighten awareness, sustainability, and impact, especially where fixed costs and resources can be shared. And this 6th principle is about working together continuously to the same end, not simply about occasional collaboration. So National Cooperative Federation and national apex organizations are vital for a thriving cooperative enterprise structure in any nation's economy. And this is also recognized in the Eswatini Cooperative Societies Act. They represent cooperatives in all sectors and at all levels and apply the 5th principle in promoting understanding of cooperative enterprise among the general public, the media, political leaders, and opinion formers. They also help to ensure that cooperatives are treated fairly and as equitably as any other form of business enterprise in national legislation and tax policy. Cooperatives with strong ideological commitment to this 6th principle. I want to repeat this one. Cooperatives with a strong ideological commitment to this 6th principle understand that committing time and resources to cooperative efforts holds potential to drive better outcomes for both individual cooperatives and the wider movement. More effort equals more positive results. As DGRV, a case of federating, why we federating and why it's important that now the Minister of Finance in Germany allocates budget to DGRV to actually assist developing economies in cooperatives. And its mandate, DGRV mandate, is to work with federations because it's at the federation level where we can gain a maximum impact on the cooperatives at the lowest food chain. So DGRV is an apex organization, unites cooperatives in 4 main sectors, that is banking, agriculture, crafts, trade services, and renewable energy, as well as consumer. DGRV consists of approximately 5,650 cooperatives with approximately 22 million members. And it gives full-time employment to more than 900,000 employees. Cooperatives tradition has been more than 200 years in Germany. And at a secondary level, DGRV provide auxiliary functions to cooperatives. That is training of cooperatives and human resource development, provides auditing, provide technical assistance, data processing and IT, deposit protection and institutional protection. At an apex level, there is liquidity compensation, refinancing, clearing system, centralized purchases, centralized marketing, import and export, which are done at an apex level. But all these systems are through a bottom-up approach, not a top-down. And according to Raiferson, the founder of DGRV in 1872, who was a mayor, also wrote that the federation is the only way for the groups to be sustainable for the entire future. They are no longer alone and subject to contingencies and eventualities of time. And as we do believe that each cooperative on a long-term basis has to serve the needs of the members, and for it to do that, it has to be profitable, competitive, and able to meet the challenges of changing environment. And Eswatini has got a legal framework on federating. And if you were to go look at the Cooperative Societies Act, paragraph 4 under cooperative principles, it says cooperative shall in its operation observe and respect international recognized cooperative principles, and for the purpose of this act, these principles shall be that. I'll just go to F and G. Education and training facilities are offered in cooperatives. And G, cooperatives work together with other cooperatives. And this can only be through an apex or national federation. And it's in the Act, which means we can no longer have a situation where there are cooperatives who are working alone, because that is non-compliance with the international recognized cooperative principles. And we cannot afford, no matter how big as a cooperative you are, you would not be able to provide education and training facilities to all your members. Hence, the federation and apexes are crucial for this to happen. When you look at paragraph 41, apex organization functions, the objectives is to facilitate and operationalize or operations of their member cooperatives. 2, provide, organize, and supervise central services. And these services include your central cooperative fund, include education, and all cooperatives by this law are required to comply by paying certain percentages towards these funds, which with now Apex, the federation being in place, they cannot be outside of it, because if they're outside of it, they would not have a say. Yet they are making contribution towards it, and the legislation requires that every cooperative within Eswatini must be part of it. So if then the cooperative federation has been mandated and given these powers, including power to audit cooperatives, and where cooperatives elect to appoint independent auditors, they are still mandated by this act and the regulations to actually make available their record, financial and otherwise, to the commissioner and to the public to inspect. And therefore, there cannot be a cooperative that the public cannot access their records because it's part of the legislation, and it's also part of transparency, it's part of unity, and it's part of doing a business in an open and transparent manner. So these are the things which are important as we talk about federating, because if then this federation is able to have access to all these, as the commissioner will empower it from time to time, given its capacity, then there is no cooperative that can remain weak, because as you know, the African proverb, together we are strong. If you want to walk fast, walk alone. And if you want to walk far, walk together. So the main objectives of the Federation is to educate, protect, support, and promote the interest of the associations, who are apexes, and the matters of general application and common concern to their members. So why must Eswatini Cooperative support the National Cooperative Federation of Eswatini? By the way, I must first congratulate Eswatini and your ministry through your leadership, Honorable Minister, and your members of the portfolio for achieving this great milestone in the history of Eswatini, to have a federation and not end there, and also establish an advisory committee to the ministry on matters of cooperative development. And all cooperatives must understand that having reached this milestone, it cannot be business as usual. There can never be a cooperative that operates its own. All cooperatives must belong somewhere, because the ear of the advisory committee chaired by the minister will only buy from through the structures and from compliant cooperatives. Even the exemption powers that are given to the minister by the Cooperative Regulation 71, where it says minister may order exempt any society from compliance with sections of the regulations, the minister can only listen to a recognized representative a body of a cooperative. Not a single cooperative can go and approach a minister or a committee advising the minister to either grant exemption or do anything which is outside the common good of all cooperatives. So it is very important, because there are also offenses in terms of Regulation 75, which says if anyone neglects or refuses to provide information, providing false returns, or omission or commission of prohibited acts within the cooperative movement, there's a fine of 25,000 emalangeni or 5 years imprisonment, or both, for leaders or managers who are not doing these things. And the federation can actually assist in many ways to get all cooperatives to comply, both big and small. But if they can share resources, as they are doing right now in terms of Mambo, especially for the SACCOs, and there is the cooperative register in terms of CODAS. There is a cooperative college that is also getting itself ready to offer education and training to members of cooperatives. And you can only access this through the federation or the apexes. It's very important that every cooperative and then falls within an apex body, so that the cooperative movement can remain strong. Because only when you are part of the movement through apexes, your voice or even involvement of structures can be realized. And there are many other things that cooperatives do under the National Federation. And in particular, a strong association will emerge when cooperatives are cooperating among other cooperatives, and it's part of legislative requirement, because then it strengthens the negotiating power, It also improves solidarity and unity. It creates sectoral stability, sustainability. It increases lobbying power and economies of scale. And I dare say the last meeting of the Southern Region regulatory meeting resolved that there is not a cooperative who can participate at ACOSCA or at WOKU if that cooperative is not coming through a federation in that country where there is a federation, or comes through an apex in that country if in that country there is an apex. So by supporting the National Cooperative Federation of Eswatini, there are 5 pillars that will bring resilience to the sector or will provide access to cooperatives, big and small. One pillar is the access to non-financial support. Pillar number 2 is capacity building, which involves education, training, and mentorship. Pillar number 3 is funding, access to financial support. Pillar number 4 is access to market and market competitiveness. Pillar number 5, which is the key important pillar, is the pillar of trust, because the National Cooperative Federation of Eswatini will be providing auditing, support and services to all cooperatives in Eswatini, even if they are not audited by a federation, but the federation will still have access to the audited financial statements and records as the Act mandates or authorize the commissioner to actually get this information either from independent auditors of cooperatives or from a structure appointed by the commissioner to actually do that. So the issue of governance and reporting will also be enhanced. But also there is gonna be consolidation and synchronization and better coordination of the creation of an enabling environment, because a cooperative federation is the one that is mandated by the Act to lobby or represent the interests of all cooperatives, financial and non-financial, agriculture and otherwise. And also it's through the National Cooperative Federation, parties like our friends from Taiwan and Germany and elsewhere can interact with cooperative sector or movement in the country. In conclusion, excuse me, evidently, more than at any time in our lives, the need to consolidate cooperative development efforts under a single national federation is the answer to rebuilding economies, fight against COVID pandemic, building of cohesive communities. Only through federating can cooperatives effectively reduce inequalities by providing equitable access to economic and social productive opportunities to all. With those few words, thank you very much for your attention. And let me just repeat the African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Cooperatives, rebuilding together. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ntuli, for such an informative presentation. Honorable Minister, ngicela nje briefly. Kuthi ndona lehloniphekile sisengakakuceli manje ngicela Madam Commissioner khona nje lokuncane letakusho 2 minutes. Honorable Minister, sitawucela make Commissioner etengembili. So tawukhatha kasanokukhuluma nge-background of i-federation kukhona nje lokufishane la tase sendela kona cela utengembili make.
Ngiyabonga Program Director. Siyabonga kuto tonke tikhulumi tethu lesbenato solo sisaqhubeka ngemcimbi wethu. Sengeke ngisavele ngisayenda le presentation keje nje kukhona lokuncane lenganikhombisa keje nje imcoka kakhulu mhlawumbe nakunet indlela ukuthi ningayithola ngoba ikhona lapha kuma computers. Nito landzelela i-background yale federation bekakhuluma ngayo Dr. Ntuli. Siyabonga kakhulu kuye Dr. Ntuli, thank you very much. Kafishane nje lesikushoka ukuthi lamuhla sesi engage lelinye ligiya si cooperative movement lapho sesine structure lesehlukile sesine 3-tier structure kuma cooperatives besolo sine 2-tier lapho besine ma primary cooperatives bese siba nama apexes inyalo sesine federation lesambulelo sawo onke ema cooperatives la khona even ngathi kafishane ngiloko nje lesikushoko lamhlanje ngilelo giya lesilifakile lekufanele ema cooperatives onke awo alad and sesiphinze futhi sine cooperative advisory board lekulu iboard leluleka indvuna kuma cooperatives. Niyabona ukuthi siyahamba siyaphambili. Siyabonga kuloko. Ngasho nje ngithi briefly nje iregisterwe nga 2020 le federation nga October 2020. Ma objectives ayo kakhulu ngokuthi to build a strong, united, resilient, competitive and autonomous cooperative movement in Eswatini. Lokunye lengingathanza highlighta nje ukuthi ngale federation nduna tinhlangano tithi sesikhona sitinhlangano sihlangene sinale National Cooperative Federation and hulumende angayisebenzisa leso structure leso in reaching out to the 80,000 cooperative members of Eswatini. For example, in rolling out cooperatives, agricultural subsidies, or in providing a revolving fund. That is the structure let's reach out to all cooperative members. And lastly, maybe I should highlight with the registration of the federation, the administration Central Cooperative Fund now has been transferred to the federation. Ema cooperatives ayayatika iCCF le fundless complying ngayo 2% wema profits. Logo sakusele konke sokhiphe konke and then 2% of that sifaka ke federation. Ngiyoke leta supporter together with other funds lata uqhamuka. May I at this juncture, Honorable Minister, introduce to you the board yale Federation of Eswatini. Sina 13 board members. Sina Mr. Cambridge Mdlalose, sina Mr. Kenneth Zwane, sina Mrs. Winnie Vilane, Mr. Mpendulo Ngamphalala, Mr. Sfiso Dlamini, Mr. Musa Sbanze, long president. Mapalane wayo Mr. Cambridge Mdlalose. And then the rest ngama members, Mrs. Anna Andrade, Mrs. Malta Mabuza, Mr. Themba Mkhabela, Mr. Ezekiel Twala, Mr. Lungelo Mdluli, Mr. Sibusiso Vlagati, Ms. Kolsile Masilela, bese siba ne ex officio lebuya office le department Mr. Sipho Dlamini lolong MC wethu lamhlanje. With those remarks, Honorable Minister, it is my pleasure to invite you, Honorable Minister Manqoba Khumalo, to address us. Siyabonga.
singahlala phasi bekunene. Sithathe leli thuba sibonge kakhulu ku Market Commissioner Make Mnisi lokungiyena lo sethulile lapha lophinze futhi kube ngiyena lokuchuba lo msebenzi wema cooperatives evenda kaNgwane sivusele kakhulu kulo phethe lihlelo ngiveka ukuthi umfana walamagagula ngive kahle mos yebo Nkosi sivusele kakhulu emalungeni eportfolio committee lesinawo la online both houses of parliament la represented gumbasada we Taiwan babe Jeremy Liang siyavusela kakhulu nelibandla lakhe kulomelele principal secretary etiko la commerce industry and trade ku Dr Ntuli waka DGRV nalabo lanabo na president we federation yema cooperatives babe Sibanze kanye futhi mhlambe nelibandla lonke lasebenta nalo bobabe Mdlalose nalabanye ma senior government officials la khona members of the media invited guests ladies and gentlemen siyabonga kakhulu lokuba la lamuhla singulmende ikakhulu silitiko la commerce sithatha nje lelithuba lokuhalalisa lolusuku lwema cooperatives emhlabeni wonke lokulisuku lesijabulelako ngoba liyasikhutsata ukuthi sihle sihlangana njeke noma kulamalanga kuhlangana kwethu kuNsombo kepha nje lokuthi siyahlangana sesiyakhona lokukhulumisana sibuke incubekela phambili yethu yema cooperatives kuyinto lenhle kakhulu and lolu ke lisuku lolugujwa umhlaba wonke. Kwesibili ke sijatshuliswa kakhulu ngilokwethi lamhla sisukumisa ngalokusemthethweni le federation yalama cooperatives njengoba nje sesichaziwe la lokuthi omathathu abesebenta mhlawumbe ngaleyo ndlela leyo kepha nyalo sekatawuhlangana ahlanganiswe ngiyo le federation siyabonga kakhulu lokuthi loku level eksemthethweni evenda kaNgwane sekuyinto lesesi implementile nyalo futhi ke kusibeka ethubeni lelihle kakhulu silivela kaNgwane ngoba soyakhanza ukuthi kulesifunza sasasadak noma ke sakasadak sebanenge lesebafunza la kithi ukuthi ema cooperatives empeleni achutshwa kanjani lokhu nje sesentele federation sengilesiye stepisi lesesikhombisa kuthuthuka akusima la ngamangake kaNgwane kunenge ke lokunye umuntu labe ngangena kuko ngenzaba yesikhathi kubonga nje kakhulu coordinator noma ke commissioner etiko la commerce industry and trade kanye ne department yakhe yonke ngalomsebenzi lona ngoba kuyakhanya lokho ukuthi banembono kepha ke akusho ukuthi banembono kuphela bese lambono bayawenda kuyangijabulisa mina kakhulu ngoba uma ubuka le system yethu yetinkundla it is by design a decentralized system lefuna lokuthi lentuthuko ingenteki lapha kuma commercial centers kuphela noma kuma commercial corridors kuphela but lentuthuko yenteke nale emakhaya lasuka khona ngesivinini lesifana nako lokuba nalama cooperatives kuyasisita kakhulu uma ubuka nje imali leyongiwe kuma cooperatives ubuka mhlawumbe nema assets labanawo ukuhlanganisa kuyenza kubo 3 billion emalangeni uma ubuka imali lebolekiswe ngama cooperatives le circulator konje in the economy njenganyalo iyenza ku 800 million emalangeni uma ubuka ema cooperatives kaNgwane ukuthi aqashe abantu abangakanani bayenza ku 500 webantu Ngilokusho ukuthi ke lena vele indlela yekuthi sithuthukise umnotho eveni. Kepha lo mnotho siwuthuthukisa hayi ngebantu bekuhamba, kepha siwuthuthukisa thina. Uma sibuka lama funds lesinawo bo Regional Development Fund, bo Youth Fund, nalawa lamanye la khona bo Loan Guarantee Scheme, nalamanye labuke wona lama cooperatives. Mine vele kusifuse sami kuliphupho lami lokuthi lama funds lawa asebenze kakhulu ngema cooperatives kuze kwekuthi babe baningi labantu laba participate kulomnotho. Ngoba lesinye isikhathi ukhona lo bekiselapha nje ngiyabona ngithishela magongo lokuthi uma ngabe kunemsebenzi lapho kusetshenzwa khona lama cooperatives abantu labasha kuleyo ndzawo akube ngibo labathola lamathenda, hayi lokuthi sekuyawuchamuka mina embabane sengiyahamba ngiyothola ithenda leka lo mahasha sebangibona ngichamuka nesigadla semoto ngingedvana ngoba sengithathe le mali yonke, but labamvu lebengibona ngabe bayathuthuka bayasitakala ngalomsebenzi wahulumende ukhanza ukuthi basalele emuva. Vele lokho kuyinto singihulumende lekumele ukuthi siyilungise, akusiko lokuthi ukhanze ukuthi leti inhlangano noma dabomake njengoba nje tikhona noma debantu labasha noma dekulima noma ngabe ngitiphi nje leti inhlangano letikhona akube ngito lelethamba empili ngoba uma ngito lomnotho utawusheshe uthuthuke. Babe sibanzeke la ngifuna ukukunika i-assignment nayi i-assignment yakho lamuhla eParliament ngitabilisha ibill. Le bill lengitayitabilisha kuthiwa i-Citizens Economic Empowerment Bill ibuya itiko la Commerce. Le bill lena imcoka kakhulu ngoba ifuna kwenta exactly what I've just described. Kwekuthi uma kunema economic opportunities kube lamthethweni kwekuthi emaswati athola njani kuthola ipriority. Bamfu labasha benda njani kuthola ipriority. Ngithanzile lokusho ngimake myeni la makakhuluma lokuthi hulumende akatayele kwekuthi uma umuntu asacathuda ikakhulu i-cooperative isacathuda simbeketelele angisho njalo manje simbeketelele singasheshi sigive up ngaye simnike lithuba ngoba vele indlela yekufundza indlela yekukhula uma ngabe loyo muntu loyo atimisele siyathi lokuthi lama failures lesingawabuka thina ngekuthi ngema failures empeleni kutaba ngema lessons kusasa latakwenda ukuthi masathatha imvo lenemthamo lomkhulu angasahluleki kuteke vele indlela yekucathuda ngaphandle kwekuthi nje uma athi magongo lapha bathole umhlaba long 1 hectare bawende kahle mhlambe kukhona lokuningi lento akufunza magongo kepha utawukhanza kwekuthi mhlambe few years from now utabona 150 hectares ngoba ufunzile, you've made a few mistakes. So sineke silitiko la Commerce kule Citizens Economic Empowerment Bill sicela le federation uma sekwendiwa lama stakeholder engagements ngoba lokho kwendeka ukuthi i-portfolio committee itabe seyiyaphuma ikhuluma nema stakeholders ukuthi nifuna ukuthi usebenze njani lo mthetho ngoba thina sente lihlaka lwawo nje nineke nima cooperatives nivele nibe very clear ukuthi nifise ukuthi kuma opportunities kuhulumende kuma projects ahulumende kuma opportunities ekusupplying uhulumende kuma opportunities kuma parastatals lenawo ahulumende na private sector mhlawumbe lapho khona singaba ngoba uhulumende private sector wendana lekuthiwa ngama incentives but ukhanza ukuthi kulama incentives asikafake ama conditions lathide ungama umuntu wesimthathu ungafika uto investor kangwane but isidakuniketa 10 years of a reduced tax break kufanele kube nema conditions la khona la favor ema cooperatives la nga supplier leyo ngapha ngithi niyakubona lo so lokho ke kufuneka ngene kulomthetho lona ungaqali ke lomthetho uyokhankanywa eParliament uye Senate uphume babe sibanze babe mdlalose ningakati apply kulo mthetho lo. Mangabe banganika ithuba nikhulume nami nithi apply. Ngikutsanze kakhulu ke nalokho shito ngimake dludlula makakhuluma achaza how the difficulties of COVID-19 have actually opened our eyes ukuthi itimvo sesingadenda kahle kanjani kalula kanjani kuphindze kushiphe sibe creative sibe open minded konke lesukwendako. So ke nani sebenzisani leto tindlela to solicit feedback from your membership ukuthi le bill lena nifuna insebentele kanjani. I believe strongly one of the biggest things that we will do as a ministry kule term lena ukuthi le bill lena ibe in place, but kudzingeka ukuthi sonke sifake la ikhathi ukuze usilomnotho ungahambi nebantu bekuhamba kusuka umuntu le Mauritius atokwenza umsebenzi la ahathathe yonke le mali yahulumeni ajike nayo sikhona thina. Kanti phela lama government projects uma ukhuluma nje nendvuna ka economic planning ivama kuwasupporta kakhulu lama government projects. Vele nami ngiyayivumela ngoba lokuba khona kwawo makuthiwa nje wakha umgwaqo kuthiwa kulungisa imigwaqo kwendwe amadamu, the assumption is the citizens of that country will participate in those projects and the wealth will spread around. But ke singaphikisana ukuthi kuyendeka noma kwendeke ngaloko ukuthi site lemithetho lesisitako ukuthi lokho kwendeke. Ngalamagama ke umuntu uthanza nje lokusho ukuthi siyayemukela kakhulu le federation futhi siyayikhutsata kakhulu ukuthi isebente ngekukhutsala nangekunonopha bekunene. Ngebhadi yenu ke kufuna phinze ngisho konke lesenkushito kepha ngisho ngesingisi. It gives me great pleasure to join you in celebrating the International Cooperative Day. Let me express my warmest good tidings to all cooperators in the Kingdom of Eswatini and across the globe. Cooperatives and cooperators worldwide take this day as an opportunity to increase awareness on the vital roles played by cooperatives with local communities, society, nations, as well as internationally. This day also allows us to reflect on the achievement of the cooperative movement, not only in advancing the interests and improving the welfare of members, but also their contribution to national cohesion, economic prosperity, and equality. I am told that the theme of this year's celebration is Rebuild Better Together. Ngesiswati ke sithi sivusetela likusasa ngangcono sibambisene. The theme aptly fits into this country's economic recovery strategy and is most timely and relevant as we continue to face the challenges brought about by COVID-19. This year, I would like to challenge everybody to build better together, build the economy, and build the social fabric that has been destroyed by the pandemic. We have all felt the impact of this health, social, and economic crisis on a global scale. This crisis draws attention to long-standing inequalities that are making us envision how we can rebuild the world so that no one is left behind. It is very good to note that around the pandemic, cooperatives have stepped up to support their members and communities at large. In moving forward beyond the pandemic, it will be important that cooperatives are also recognized as economic actors that need to benefit from the financial relief packages. Moreover, they need to be considered as critical partners for the longer term in building more resilient communities and strengthening local economies. Ladies and gentlemen, our social and economic development has been and continues to be inextricably linked with the growth of cooperative sectors. The cooperative movement in the country features over 700 registered cooperatives and commands a membership of 81,500 people. We have since noted that our vibrant and diverse cooperative sector is becoming a model of reference in the SADC region, and this is demonstrated by the increasing number of visitors across our borders that come here to learn about cooperative development. Cooperatives in the country have mobilized member savings and deposits in excess of 1.3 billion emalangeni, and they feature an asset base of approximately 2.1 billion emalangeni and a portfolio of loans in excess of 800 million emalangeni. Furthermore, cooperatives directly employ more than 500 people, in addition to their invaluable contribution in creating secondary employment, supporting enterprises, and empowering the economic activities of eMaswati. Indeed, eMaswati can directly and indirectly earn a living through the cooperative sector. In addition to their invaluable contribution to individual prosperity and to our national economy, cooperatives in the country have played an integral role in fostering national unity and cohesion. The cooperative sector is a towering example of what can be achieved through unity, through coming together for common good, through hard work, enterprise, sacrifice, and an unyielding commitment to positive goals. Government recognizes the importance of cooperatives in wealth and employment creation. Therefore, government has placed the cooperative sector at the heart of the economic recovery strategy, counting on cooperatives as a reliable development partner in terms of social, economic, as well as cultural progress. Our goal as government is to serve as facilitators and enablers and clear the path for cooperatives so that they and their members can realize their fullest potential. Even though the cooperative movement has positively impacted on the lives and livelihoods of eMaswati, it behooves us all to continuously raise the bar, particularly on issues of governance, so as to safeguard the hard-earned deposits and savings of the thousands of eMaswati who are members of the various cooperative societies. In this regard, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, after extensive consultations with the cooperative sector, has initiated policy and regulatory measures which are designed to create an enabling environment for cooperative enterprises to thrive. This is demonstrated by the Cooperative Societies Bill of 2021, which has been tabled in Parliament and awaits Parliament debate and approval. We hope that this particular bill will be made law before the end of this year. I was pleased to note the effort put by cooperatives to develop itself by launching the core cooperative management system, MAMBU, through Eswatini Association of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, SASCO, in partnership with DGRV. MAMBU will help and is already helping cooperatives to rapidly deliver business value in a constantly changing market and is the driving force behind cooperatives' clients as they grow, scale, and transform to meet evolving digital demands. The launch of the system came at the right time when the globe faced this pandemic, COVID-19, and the cooperatives tended to benefit immensely from this platform because it is reducing the inflow of members to society and the need for physical visits, as Margaret Ludlu was explaining earlier. In addition, the ministry entered into partnership with the Republic of China on Taiwan in implementing a capacity building program for microfinance focusing on grassroots women in Eswatini that is called #Kutsala Mfati. This project entails providing capacity building for women entrepreneurs and microfinance institutions in order to provide synergies on how these MFIs can extend financial services and products to grassroots women's entrepreneurs in the country. This project will go a long way in the development of cooperatives in the country. Thank you, Ambassador Liang, for your leadership, for your support, and your long-standing relationship between Taiwan and Eswatini. Furthermore, I am informed that in order to address cooperative challenges, a National Cooperative Federation of Eswatini has been established on the 21st of October 2020. This is a milestone in as far as development of cooperatives in the country is concerned. May I take this opportunity to congratulate the appointed Federation board members and challenge them to ensure that by the end of their 2-year term of office, this federation must be fully functional and all the systems must be in place. I'm told that DGRV has committed herself to support the federation both financially and technically, and this will spread over a 3-year period, and for that we are eternally grateful. It is therefore very, yes, you may clap hands, it's allowed. I would therefore like to convey my sincere thanks to DGRV for the unwavering support extended to us across many facets of cooperative development in the country. In this juncture, please allow me to declare the National Cooperative Federation of Eswatini officially launched. Pursuant to Section 43 of the Cooperatives Act 2003, may I take this opportunity to also announce the appointment of the Cooperative Advisory Board, which is responsible for advising me as Minister and the Ministry generally and in respect of any particular matter, and make recommendations, particularly as it relates to policy reforms in the space of cooperative development. I hope all the members are here. So as I announce them, can I please ask them to just stand where you are? The board is constituted as follows. Ms. Qinsile Matse is the chairperson. Mr. Ezekiel Twala is a member. Mr. Mangaliso Zwane is a member. Ms. Sanelsu Ngoteni is a member. Ms. Nonhlanhla Nisi is a member. Mr. Enoch Lamini is a member. And Mr. Banele Nkambule is the secretary. May I take this opportunity to congratulate you on your appointment and hope you shall honestly, diligently, and/or prudently execute your mandate. The federation has 13 members, so I don't know if they're all here, but can you please allow me to ask Mr. Sbanze to stand as chairperson of the federation, or president of the federation. And then Babem Dlalose as well, he is the secretary of the federation. The rest of the members in Dankolela, but thank you so much. As I conclude, may I humbly request all cooperatives to continue providing opportunities, particularly for young people, because youth unemployment is a scourge in this country that needs our urgent attention. For women, because I believe strongly that when our women folk start to be in charge of the economy and start to influence major decisions in this country, this country's fortunes will turn around, as well as the most vulnerable in our community, so that
they can achieve their hopes and dreams personally and professionally, because cooperatives are the only inclusive and viable institutions communities can use to cooperate out of indebtedness, generational poverty, and youth hopelessness. I invite you all to join me in applauding the significant contribution and positive impact that cooperatives in the country and across the globe have had. I also wish the cooperative movement every success as it continues to make Eswatini a better place for all humanity, uniting families, communities, nations, religions, and the globe. That is the unity of purpose we are all aiming for. May I close by quoting the wise words of Vince Lombard, who says, "The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand." May the good Lord bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for such a wonderful speech. I hope bantu abakethu tintfo letinhle kuyekufisa ukuthi utithandazele kutsi nawe ngalenye ilanga ube nenhlakanipho mhlawumbe lenayo indvuna. Ngiyabona nivile ngalesikhathi abeka ngesiswati. Ubekile wabeka nase kafunza ke lelo kwebolekwa sesiba like awu anembala nato sonke le speech sibekwa ngesiswati nje vele sila inhloko nalama figures. Sengisho ukuthi ke bekunene siyabonga kakhulu nduna, siyayithandazela nathi leyo nhlakanipho. Tilwana letinye takhula ngecrema, letinye tikholelwa kufunza into ebhalwe phasi. Siyabonga kakhulu Honorable Minister, sinekwe ukuthi nje induna isihloniphe ibe nathi kulombuthano. I don't know how can I play around with the program. Madam Commissioner, direction yakho lencane make. Siyabonga kakhulu, sengiconzisekile. Ngiyacela ukuthi kulesikhathi lesi ngoba sekukhomba kusesambe saya fika ngasemaphethelweni nalomsebenzi indasicolela abantu abakethu mhlawumbe kulokunye khona longathi asikakwendi kahle khona la kusele khona. Ngiyacela ukuthi sicele make qinisile mathe atosendela vote of thanks, make qinisile mathe ke make lo sanza kwethula lambi kwethu njengasihlalo walaba tawululeka induna sesitamva ukuthi nembala.
The Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry and Trade, Senator Manqoba Khumalo, the Principal Secretary, the Portfolio Committee members present, the Commissioner of Cooperatives, Mage Nonhlanhla Mnisi, DGRV representative Dr. Bong Musa Nduli, the Cooperatives Advisory Board, the President and Board of NFCE, the President and Board of SNICA, the President and Board of ESWACU, the President and Board of SASCO, distinguished cooperators, media houses present, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We'd like to thank the Minister for Commerce and for all the insights that he has shared with us today as cooperators, and also for launching the Federation. We are happy that finally the three apexes have a home. We are very grateful to the Minister for setting aside time to be with us as cooperators, because the cooperatives have shown a great potential in the growing of the economy of the country. May we thank DGRV for sharing all the insights and the importance of a federation and how it is expected to operate. We pledge to make good use of the advice given by DGRV and work well with the federation to further its goals. We'll always be grateful to the Office of the Commissioner of Cooperatives for the initiative to form the federation. We are very grateful, Mage Commissioner. This is provided by the Cooperatives Act. May we recognize the role played by the three apexes in the formation of the federation. And may we say to them, this is only the foundation. We do expect a lot of contribution from you. The testimonies received today from the cooperators of the three cooperatives indicate that the future is bright for cooperatives and their members. Not even the sky is the limit to what we can achieve together. May we acknowledge the organizing committee for a job well done and thank them for making this day a success in the midst of this deadly pandemic. We appeal to all of us to observe all COVID-19 regulations and do our best to keep safe. Last and by no means least, we appreciate the appointment to be part of the Cooperatives Advisory Board. We are humbled by this trust in us and pledge to do our utmost best to accomplish the assignment while furthering the goals of the cooperatives movement. We thank everyone present today for taking time out of their busy personal and professional schedules to be part of this important day. Thank you and good afternoon. We will now give him. Thank you very much for this. We'll call upon the Minister to come up front. We have a little token of appreciation for his attendance today. We also have a token of appreciation for the Principal Secretary, the Minister. Thank you very much. Siyabonga kakhulu, you can come back as I.
Siyabonga kakhulu colleagues, mina so wendile ama vote of thanks make qinisile. Mina ngicela ukuthi ibongela mina kuthi ningibambise suka ekucaleni kude kube ngilesikhathi lesi, and umuntu athanze ukuthi icolisela bantu abakethu nangabe khona mhlawumbe lapho singakendi kahle khona kuba njalo nje makusetshenzwa. Sicolisa nekuthi mhlawumbe khona lokunyele ndawubona ngathi asikakwendi lokuncane lokho kubangwe ngile nhlakanipho ya program director long SI umntana lamagagula Sicedzile ke sacedza even before time. Sitawucela colleagues ukuthi ngekushaktela lokukhulu la makomiti lamabili mane athathe i-group photo nendvuna isengakahambi niniketane nje esigaba bekunene akunandzaba ukuthi ucale bobani kodwa nonke ndalithola lithuba ngicela kucala advisory board itothatha sithombe nendvuna